I'm Langston.
And I'm Daniel Stout, and this is our STEPS presentation on white-tailed deer forage consumption across 4 management types.
So when it comes to white-tailed deer management, typically the goal is to produce trophy bucks on the landscape. This is often very difficult and expensive. There are a couple main approaches that managers utilize to promote the overall body condition and quality of deer. The first being food plots, and the second being natural vegetation management through prescribed fire. The goal of our study was to help managers understand management decisions that affect the production of forage on the landscape. Our objective to accomplish this was to quantify the forage in 4 wildlife habitat types. These habitat types included growing season and dormant season burns, along with summer and winter food plots. Our study area took place on an intensively managed wildlife plantation in southwestern Georgia. The plantation is about 4,059 acres, and much of this site is divided up into food plots, pines, and hardwoods. For our study, what we essentially did was place exclusion cages to prevent wildlife from eating the forage inside of them across the 4 habitat types. We left these cages alone for about 4 months. We then harvested the content of the cages along with the content of the sister plots. After that, the samples were brought back to campus and dried, and the dry weight of the exclusion cages was then compared to the dry weight of the sister plots.
In our dormant season burn plots and growing season burn plots, we estimate that about 14,000 kilograms of food was consumed by white-tailed deer and other wildlife. In our winter food plots and summer food plots, we estimate that about 13,000 kilograms of food was consumed by white-tailed deer and other wildlife. When we take the 14,000 kilograms of food consumed in our burn plots and extrapolate that to the total pine stands across the property, we estimate that about 44,000 kilograms of food was consumed across all managed pine stands on the property. One other thing to note about our results is that our growing season burn plots produced more food than our summer food plots. Because our growing season burn plots produced more food than summer food plots, we recommend that managers during the growing season focus more on promoting growing season burns than planting summer food plots. By focusing on growing season burns more than summer food plots, managers can reduce the cost of management and provide more food to deer across the property. One other thing we noticed in our results was that winter food plots produce more food than dormant season burns. So while growing season burns should be promoted in the growing season, dormant season burns should be a secondary objective in the dormant season.
A couple shortcomings of our study. First, we did not examine any of the hardwoods present across the landscape. This could be a major shortcoming because approximately 50% of the landscape is encompassed by hardwoods. Another shortcoming is that all of our data was taken over the course of a year. Our data was very subjected to variables such as rainfall, which could have affected our results. If our study was to ever be repeated, we recommend that hardwoods are examined and the study takes place over the course of multiple years. This is something that we could not accomplish in our study due to funding and time constraints.